Welcome to the Accent on Air. I'm Jennifer Mealy. Today's show is all about magnificent churches and weddings. Today, the Accent on Air talks to couples about faith, falling in love, and the parish program that started it all. Then Bishop Malesic prepares to meet the Holy Father. Coming up, the messages he will carry from Greensburg to Rome. And what wedding episode would be complete without a story about the Western Pennsylvania cookie table? One parish shows us how they make their Fayette County famous wedding knots. Plus the Golden Wedding Anniversary Mass, what 50 years has taught these couples and the advice they have for the young faithful. Catholic Accent editor Jerry Zufeld has a story now about magnificent churches in the Diocese of Greensburg. He highlights something old, new, borrowed, and blue.
I'm the pastor here at the historic Church of St. Peter, where we're in our yearly cleaning process of removing the efflorescence from the interior of our beautiful historic church. It's a white substance, which if it's left, it turns black. It's a dusty, filmy type material. If the moisture comes through, there's a chemical reaction and appears on the interior of the church. So each year we respond by having parishioners bring in scaffolding, cover all of the pews, remove all the statuary, and climb the walls once again and remove that efflorescence. It's just part of the work that's required to maintain this beautiful edifice, this great church.
This is Holy Family Church in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. It was built in 1907. In the late 60s, it was pretty much destroyed. Everything that looked beautiful was taken away. When I came here 12 years ago, we decided to clean it up and make it more beautiful. You'll be able to see on the pendles on the side walls various saints, mostly American saints, contemporary saints, who remind us of how we should live and the kind of people that we should be. And all the stenciling you see was all hand done. We have made something which was old and beautiful in its very style into something now that is new and attractive, that has newer elements in it. So it's something that's, we think, very beautiful and lends itself well to worship.
The baldacchino was made from the railings of the stairway in the Mellon Mansion. Each panel is separate, and in that panel it's depicted that there are lilies. Well, the men tore that all apart and brought it here to Mount St. Peter's, and then designed and assembled the baldacchino here. When you look at the ceiling tiles here in the church, the original tiles that are above the altar really came from the Mellon estate. Even the marble from the inside is from the Mellon estate. There was an article in the Pittsburgh Sun-Telegraph, and it said that it seemed as though the Mellon estate, even though being torn down, was destined for a new home, and that home was to be in New Kensington and the home of Mount St. Peter Parish.
This mosaic has over 100,000 pieces of smalty tile. It was made in Rome, and they sent it back in 362 pieces and put it together like a jigsaw puzzle.
Heidi, can you explain to us what these images mean in this mural?
Yes, this is the first appearance of Mary to Juan Diego. Juan Diego was an Aztec Native American. He was walking one day on his way to Mass. The birds stopped singing. It was very quiet. He heard a woman's voice, and it was Mary's voice, talking to him, telling him to build a church.
I'm joining you today from St. Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe in Katanning, one of many beautiful churches in the Diocese of Greensburg. Our bishop is in Rome visiting another magnificent church, St. Peter's Basilica at the Vatican. It's all part of a pilgrimage during which he meets with the Holy Father. We sat down to talk to him about his trip.
I remember the first time I walked into the St. Peter's, and I've seen a lot of tremendous things in my life, and so you tend to not be as impressed when you've seen wonderfully beautiful, grand buildings. But I have to say, when I walked into St. Peter's for the first time, I said, wow, I have no idea how they did this. It's much larger than I would have ever imagined it to be, and much more beautiful.
While this show is on, you will actually be in Rome visiting with the Pope. Are you looking forward to seeing him?
I get to visit with the Holy Father on Thanksgiving Day with my brother bishops from Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I'm very much looking forward to that visit. I think we'll have about 2 hours in the schedule to be with him. If his schedule still permits that, we'll have a nice dialogue. We need to make him aware that we also are doing a lot of good things in the Diocese of Greensburg with evangelization, with communication, with vocations, with our Catholic schools, with our religious education programs. There are so many good things happening. We have done an awful lot to make sure that our children are protected in the Diocese of Greensburg, and I want to share what we've been doing with the Holy See and with the Holy Father so that they can take what they will from the good things that we've been doing and maybe apply that if it's possible in the universal church. But certainly universally the protection of children for us is a top priority.
Mm-hmm. No matter how magnificent a church is, isn't it really the people who make the church?
You know, our physical buildings are places that symbolize what the church is. And the church really is not a building, but the church is made up of believers in the Lord. Together, we form the one Church of Christ.
While the bishop is in Rome, he will visit the Chapel of the Holy Spirit, designed by Pittsburgh architect Louis Astorino. He's the only American architect to ever design a building inside the Vatican, and that's where Pope Francis celebrates daily Mass. Astorino captivated a local audience with his story about his journey from Pittsburgh to the Vatican. You can read more in his book, A Pencil in God's Hand. Magnificent Churches and Weddings continues with an inside look at the Western Pennsylvania cookie table and the Fayette County famous Italian knot cookie.
I'm Jordan Wyko on assignment at the Golden Wedding Anniversary Mass with couples who say faith builds a marriage meant to last.
Then, dispelling the myths about separation, annulment, and divorce in the Catholic Church. FAQs answered with the Vicar General coming up.
Let's get started. Whether it's on your first account or your second location, let's put smart technology in your hand and smarter people by your side. Let's get started, online or at your local First National Bank branch.
Even right now, I'm a senior graduating in college, like out of St. Vincent. I want to do my 4 years here again. That's how much I love this place.
I've had so many experiences and I've met so many wonderful people here, and I'm just so thankful that they've helped me grow into who I am now.
St. Vincent's just a place where if you're here, you're just magnetized toward positivity and openness and kindness to people. It's just what happens, and that's why, that's what a home is. So that's why St. Vincent's my home.
Ford Business Machines technicians are never satisfied with anything less than perfection.
Which is better, 1 or 2?
They take the time to fully understand the scope of the issue and make it crystal clear that you will be able to view your documents at a level that you should expect.
Now, which is better? That's the one right there.
Don't settle for less when it comes to your company's image. Call today for a well-defined analysis of your current picture.
Adelphi is a great place to build career skills. While working at Adelphi, you'll learn how to work with people, manage youth behaviors, and develop communication skills while receiving valuable training and professional development that can advance your career. Adelphi has programs in over 30 counties in Pennsylvania, including residential group homes, foster and adoptive care, education services, and in-home treatment options. If you'd like to be the difference in a child's life, apply today at adelphi.org or call 724-804-7117.
Let's make it easier for you to manage your money. Or send it to people you know with Zelle. Let's give you an on-off switch for your debit card and live support at your ATM. Let's get started, online or at your local First National Bank branch.
The cookie table is a Western Pennsylvania wedding tradition. Homemade cookies on trays that sometimes span the entire length of a ballroom is not unusual if you grew up in Pittsburgh. Relatives of happy couples spend weeks baking for the big day. Here's Robin Mull with one cookie recipe that's extremely popular when you're tying the knot.
St. Rita's Italian knot cookie recipe is a secret, but we got an inside look.
The first thing I do is I put the sugar in the bowl. I add the shortening, butter and Crisco. Crisco. Okay, now I'm going to add the eggs. I'm going to add the milk. Then I add the flavoring. And I always give it a sort of a shot of vanilla.
No measurements here with the Italian nuts. That's what makes them so good.
Now I'm going to start adding the flour, and I'll add it a little bit at a time.
It's starting to smell like a cookie, I can say that. Tell us a little bit about the bake sale that you have here.
It's 9 o'clock till we're sold out. I have a lot of good help.
Okay. So you said it's like Black Friday here.
Worse.
Worse than Black Friday for cookies.
Worse.
And they start lining up at what time?
7 o'clock.
Get here early.
Right.
Okay. So this is the process.
That tuck it like that and go around.
So you tuck it like this?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Perfect. See that?
On your tray. Hey, that's
perfect. See that?
Perfect.
She did a perfect knot.
Woo! I'm tying the knot. Italian knots at St. Rita's Parish. What's in the icing?
Icing's just powdered sugar and water and flavor.
After all that hard work and preparation, it is now time to take a bite out of these cookies. The icing is definitely the secret recipe to making these so delicious.
It's a traditional cookie, you know, for weddings and holidays. Nice and soft, right?
Nice and soft. That might be the one that I rolled.
Maybe. It's good.
A perfect knot.
For a similar Italian knot recipe, visit theaccentonline.org. I'm Robin Mall.
More than 100 couples celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary at a Mass with Bishop Malesic here at Blessed Sacrament Cathedral in September. In his homily, he told the story of a man who wondered about a shoebox in his wife's closet. He finally asked about it after 50 years. Inside were 2 doilies and $250,000. She said she only made doilies when she got upset with him.
Upon hearing this, the husband began to swell with pride. And you only have 2 doilies in that box. What about the $250,000 in cash? And his wife said to him, "That's the money I made from selling doilies."
In the bishop's homily, he mentions, the doilies. How many doilies have you made, do you think?
Actually, I do crocheting and knitting for a charity, so I've made lots of them, but not for the reason that the bishop mentioned.
Do you think that's true?
Well, she has a good reason to make the doilies, but who knows why they've been made? I mean, I'm not as easy as most people would think to live with.
I asked many couples how they met, hoping to get some insight on starting a long-lasting relationship. What advice would you give to somebody trying to find the one?
Trying to find the one is just have faith. A marriage is something special. Nowadays, people give up too easy. If you can work together to address problems that come up and you're sincere about it, you're going to find out that it gets better and better and better. It's the people that give up that never learn that.
50 years is a long time.
Right.
What's your secret?
Give more than you take. Like every marriage, you have good times and bad, but your faith is what gets you through that.
I don't think you could be married 50 years without faith. It's absolutely critical. It gets you through the bad times, it lets you celebrate the good times.
Today, the Accent on Air explores the sacrament of marriage and the magnificent weddings held in the Catholic Church. Monsignor, if you could tell us a little bit about what Christ Life is.
Christ Life is a program to bring people to a deeper understanding of Jesus Christ. People get to know other people in the parish, not just in the liturgy of the Mass experience, but rather participating in Christ's life and in the lives of the people who you have shared that experience with and beyond.
Through the weeks, everybody got to know each other pretty well. And dear friends of ours, they would go, "John, Lynn cooked this dinner tonight. She's a very good cook."
I knew where they were coming from. Wasn't my first rodeo.
What were you seeking when you came to Christ Life? A better relationship with God, a curiosity about the Catholic Church?
A deeper involvement. I wanted something that just gave us something beyond every Sunday in the pews at church.
Yeah. spirituality, becoming closer to Jesus, and the sense of community was important to me.
We're talking about Christ's life today, and that's where you two had met. Can you tell us a little bit about how you met there and how the relationship blossomed at Christ's life?
Yeah, I mean, I joined the church, gosh, I think it's been 5 years now. I wanted to apply the faith that I had just joined, the Catholic faith.
So I started leading music during the Christ Life sessions, and Mark was doing all the audio, video, and we had to work together. At that point, we were just friends and just getting to know each other.
I was looking for a relationship. I saw Sarah, and we started to have a bond, a friendship.
We dated for about 2 months, but it was, to me, like, the only way that I can express it was just like a true feeling of joy. And we knew that, like, the Catholic Church, like, was our foundation, and we wanted it to be the center of our lives. And I feel like we have all the tools that we needed, you know, to start our marriage and, you know, our lives together. I think the biggest thing is, you know, obviously making God the center of your relationship and the priority. And I've always used, like, the symbol of a triangle. So if you have, you know, husband and wife at the bottom 2 corners and God up at the center, if you're both trying to grow closer to God, ultimately you're growing closer together. You know, as you reach that peak, the closer you go to God, the closer you are together.
Did you know the Diocese of Greensburg has a sister diocese in South America? Coming up, Mary Siemens is on assignment in Sequani, Peru. Then, turning pain into purpose. Meet the women who use donated wedding dresses to help parents grieve the loss of an infant.
If you end up in a courtroom like this, most likely you have a serious legal problem.
Whether it be for an accident, an injury claim, or a criminal charge such as DUI, you better have a great trial lawyer on your side. Ron McCoskey has been a trial lawyer for over 40 years. Along with his son, Matthew, they provide a 1-2 punch for their clients.
If you've been injured or charged with a criminal offense, call us because we can help.
Call McCoskey & Associates. You need them on your side.
The Stony Brook Foundation provides a variety of equine services to individuals who may have cognitive, emotional, physical disabilities, PTSD, and other challenges in their lives. We are a PATH International Premier accredited facility in southwestern Pennsylvania, providing nearly 1,500 therapeutic riding lessons annually. With the help of our donors, fundraisers, and grants, we are able to keep lessons affordable. To apply today or learn more, visit thestonybrookfoundation.org.
Do you want to improve your health naturally? Align Chiropractic Wellness Center is the place for you. Chiropractic care is more than just making the pain disappear. It's about learning, understanding, and taking care of your body to improve your quality of life. Do you feel tired, have trouble losing weight, have aches and pains, or just don't feel as good as you'd like to? Improve your health with a customized nutrition program or a safe and effective weight loss plan. Call us today and make the first step in your path to wellness.
Caressa Kowalczyk was the oldest of 5 siblings, adopted by an Indiana County couple when she was 10 years old. They lost her to domestic violence in 2014. She was 23 years old and 9 months pregnant with a baby girl she planned to name Aubriana. We sat down with Caressa's mother, Anne. Despite the crushing pain during those dark days, she remembers being overjoyed that Aubriana survived. She made her baptism at the hospital a priority.
We arrived at the hospital. They were already waiting for us, and she dressed like a queen. They put a white gown on her. Where does it come from? And as soon as I saw that she was so pretty, so dressed up, they did that for me. I had this feeling that at one point I will give back. I don't know how, but I will give back.
Aubriana died 3 weeks later, and it took Anne several years to turn that pain into purpose. But she did, approaching fellow parishioner and seamstress Debbie Source about using old wedding gowns to make baptismal gowns.
So when Anne came to me and asked if I could do this, I was overwhelmed with joy for doing that. And it gave me an outlet to repurpose those gowns so that none of that would be thrown away, because wedding gowns are precious to people. And now they're even more precious to be repurposed for these infants in the hospital.
Forgiveness and turning pain into purpose.
We have Kovalcheks who have experienced this horrible, tragic loss of their daughter and their granddaughter, and they've transformed that into mercy, not only through showing forgiveness, but also then by extending that mercy to other families who are enduring similar kinds of trials and tragedies in their own lives.
Ann Kovalchek reminded me that in the word forgiveness is the word give, an action, not just a word. Despite her tragic loss, the death penalty was never something she sought.
The person who did it to my daughter, we accepted his plea because we did not want death and pain stopping with what he did. We believe as a Christian that life is stronger than that, and it is an action. That's not just a word. Keep giving.
If you would like to donate your wedding gown, please contact Church of the Good Shepherd in Indiana County at 724-479-3881.
I'm Mary Siemens, and I went on assignment to Sequani, Peru. Located 11,500 feet above sea level in the southern Andes Mountains, the Prelature of Sequani is our sister diocese. The Diocese of Greensburg has been supporting them since 1963, following the Vatican II call to help for the Church in Central and South America. Bishop Pedro Bustamante invited our diocese to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Prelature. He proudly showed us the Catholic school, where the students welcomed us with dances performed in native costumes. We also toured the Special Needs School and a small clinic that the Diocese of Greensburg has helped to support for many years. The celebration included a parade of all the school children and teachers from throughout the Prelature. A second day of parades allowed each parish to participate with native costumes and dancing. The highlight of the celebration was the 60th anniversary Mass celebrated by Bishop Bustamante. Father Alan Polchinski and seminarian Christopher Pajul from the Diocese of Greensburg were able to join the many bishops and priests from around the world. Chancellor Margaret D. Virgilio presented the Prelature with a letter of congratulations from Bishop Molesic and the Diocese of Greensburg. Many of the native people live high in the mountains, raising cattle, sheep, and growing corn and potatoes. These areas of the Prelature are so remote, they are visited by a priest to celebrate Mass just once a year. This journey gave me a new perspective of the universal church, and I was able to see how much work there is to be done in the world to educate and to evangelize. We can all continue to offer our prayers and financial support to the Prelature of Sequani. I'm Mary Siemens on assignment in Sequani, Peru.
I think one of the major myths that people may have, if they're divorced, they can't receive communion, they can't act as a sponsor, or they can't somehow participate in the full sacramental life of the church. That's a myth. The reality is being divorced does not prohibit one from receiving Holy Communion, acting as a sponsor, or in any way participating in the full breadth and scope of church ministries. There is a difference, however, if someone is divorced and then attempts remarriage without the benefit of annulment. That can limit someone's sacramental participation and their participation in the full sacramental life of the church. A lot of people also think that annulments are very expensive. That's a myth. Actually, here in the Diocese of Greensburg, that fee can be waived when there's any economic hardships or financial difficulties. Another myth surrounding annulments is, I'm not going to do it, I'm not even going to look into it because it takes forever. That's a myth. Annulments, if everyone participates, can be processed sometimes in a matter of months. People believe that only marriage between two Catholics who then experience divorce need to be reviewed in an annulment process before someone could go into another union. That's a myth. The commitment made for perpetuity by any two baptized people has a presumed sense of permanency to it that must be canonically examined in an annulment process. Maybe in having an opportunity to hear some of these common held myths, maybe this is an invitation, and maybe the Holy Spirit's calling you and challenging you to come back and to maybe take this opportunity to really look within yourself and the opportunity that the church can offer in this wonderful ministry of healing and reconciliation.
To watch this show or read more about magnificent churches and weddings, visit theaccentonline.org. Thanks for watching.
My great-great-grandparents started Rizzo's 84 years ago, and we're still here today. Same business, same family, same location. We have our lines of sauce and pasta in the stores. We have a banquet facility. We have a line of chocolates. The business really has expanded, but consistent is the tradition and the quality. We're about tradition here at Rizzo's, and we invite you to come start a tradition yourself.
In Pennsylvania, there are 14,000 children who've been removed from unsafe situations. While we hope that number stops you in your tracks, we also want to remind you these children are more than a number. There are 14,000 names, stories, fears, hopes, and dreams. They are kids who deserve to know they belong, and the community is here to support them by becoming foster parents. Adelphi Foster Care and Adoption Services is asking for your help to say, I can make a difference. Call us today at 1-800-KID-5928 to learn how.